Once upon a time, there was a girl who got tired of playing with her doll and threw it away. Some boys found it and spent the whole day dragging it around on a wire. They tore off its remaining clothes and left it naked between the garages. Its arms were twisted, one eye had fallen out, its hair was partially torn off, and it lay in the rain, unwanted and disfigured. Autumn approached, and the nights became colder. The doll's plastic skin turned pale blue, and no one could predict the tragedy that was about to befall the city. A garage watchman peered into the dead end where the doll lay and was astonished by a strange sight. There was the doll, but it was no longer a child's toy. It had grown to half a meter in size, swollen, with one glass eye fixed on him. Nearby were the bodies of dogs and cats, their long gray ribs sticking out from under their skins. The watchman scolded, immediately dug a hole, and threw the decaying remains into it. He wanted to dispose of the doll as well, but as he reached for it, someone grabbed his leg and let go. When he turned around, the doll stood before him on its plastic legs, swaying. The watchman fainted, and the doll leaned over him, strangling him. The autumn nights became gloomy and dark. Passers-by hurried to get home, and news spread throughout the city about a strange killer that had appeared. It didn't want anything from its victims, just grabbed them by the throat and released them only in death. The police sent reinforcements to patrol the streets, but it was of no use. Every day brought a new victim. The faces of the deceased were marked with such horror that it was impossible to look at them without fear. Meanwhile, the doll grew even larger from each death. It turned bluer, with one glass eye, and during the day, it lay somewhere in a secluded garden or a dumpster. But as soon as darkness fell, it would rise and sway through the deserted, fear-filled streets. In the evenings, the townspeople stopped visiting each other, going to the movies or the theater. They rushed straight home from work. That's when the blue doll started visiting people's homes. When neighbors heard screams from behind the walls, they called the police. They arrived to find the apartment door wide open, rooms in a terrible mess, and amidst the wreckage of furniture and torn rags, there were bodies with broken necks. The entire neighborhood was quickly cordoned off, and every nook and cranny was searched, but there was no trace of the killer, not even the slightest clue. One evening, a girl whose doll had once been ventured onto the balcony without her parents' permission. She sat down and peered through the gaps in the balcony bars. The lamppost cast a cold light between the fallen trees, and the puddles shimmered with black splashes. She heard a creak, as if someone with prosthetic limbs was walking. She looked closely and saw her doll taking steps, appearing small from the 5th floor. Its arms were twisted, one eye was missing, and dirty hair hung over its pale face. The girl cried out in pity for it, and the doll headed straight for her building. The girl quietly walked into the hallway, opened the door, and descended the stairs. She ran and kept saying, "Poor thing, abandoned." And as soon as they saw each other, as soon as the doll heard what the girl was saying, it shrank back to its original size and collapsed. The girl picked it up, carried it home, cleaned it, placed a fresh bandage over its missing eye, and dressed it in the prettiest clothes. Since that incident, the unnoticed murders came to an end. But how long it will last, no one knows. The girl's parents say that it might be a good idea to throw away the old doll and buy a new one from abroad.